With awards season in the rear view, let's get back to thinking about what's coming out at the movies. Check out our March new release picks, coming right up.
Please just smile.
Die Stöcke vielleicht in die Höhe.
He wants pulls up again.
He wants us to keep doing pulls up. I don't know.
If you're going to remake brilliant black comedy Force Majeure for the American market, you could do worse than casting Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Wow.
And I look over at Pete, and he had grabbed his phone. Pete left us.
Ferrell plays a family man who is a moment of extreme, pitiful cowardice in the face of an avalanche.
Look, this is gonna sound really fucking weird, but can you help me? I have guns bolted to my hands.
We finally get to see what Daniel Radcliffe was up to when he was running around Auckland with guns bolted to his hands. In Guns Akimbo, Radcliffe stars opposite a badass Samara Weaving as an everyday Joe who finds himself competing in a citywide deathmatch.
Mistakes were made.
Almost heaven.
A chilling real-life corporate conspiracy is exposed first to see if they know anything about the death of a farmer's livestock, and then to uncover the sheer scale of their negligence and criminality.
Knowingly poisoning 70,000 local residents for the last 40 years. The system is rigged.
Vin Diesel is an indestructible killing machine in Bloodshot. Sounds great, but when he realizes that the corporation who gave him his new powers also has control over his mind, he sets out to figure out what's real and what's not. Nicolas Cage gets crazy yet again in Colour Out of Space, this time for cult director Richard Stanley. Cage plays a chap in the country whose quiet family life gets more complicated and f***ing weird with the arrival of a crashed meteorite, mutating their surroundings and maybe their minds. Shh! The smash horror featuring monsters that see and hunt by sound gets a sequel. With Emily Blunt reprising her role as a mother who fought off the creatures in the previous film. Here she and her kids venture off their farm in search of other survivors and into danger.
Can I ask you something? What took you so long?
A Tinder date turns into a nightmare when a black man and woman are stopped by an aggressive cop, and escalating tension leads to an act of self-defense. Making a snap decision not to turn themselves in, the pair go on the run, championed by some and hunted by others.
Evening, Mrs. Peters.
Evening, Martin.
A struggling fisherman's resentment of change, not to mention rich bloody Londoners, reaches boiling point in this BAFTA-winning debut. Yeah, it's meant to look the way it does, alright? Shot on black and white with a spring-wound 16mm Bolex.
I read your paper.
Oscar nominee Rosamund Pike is the history-making physicist and chemist who discovered radioactivity in this biopic.
You think you found an undiscovered element?
Working alongside her husband, Marie sees him given all the credit, but her discovery may not be one that solely deserves praise. Niki Caro's live-action remake of the Disney classic follows the eldest daughter of an honoured warrior. Masquerading as male, she steps in to take the place of her ailing father after the Emperor of China issues a decree. One man per family must serve and fight in the Imperial Army.
This narrative is far more than mere fiction.
Comedy genius Armando Iannucci, the man behind The Thick of It and partly responsible for inflicting Alan Partridge on the world, adapts Charles Dickens with an eye on David Copperfield's humorous potential. Dev Patel stars as Copperfield, alongside the likes of Hugh Laurie, Tilda Swinton and Peter Capaldi.
Copperfield.
That's the highlights for March. Check flicks.co.nz for times and tickets.